We got Volksgeist. I feel like I haven't watched Volksgeist in so long, bro. There's probably a whole bunch of videos I missed, but I saw the noti for this one, and I was like, what better time to talk about this than a couple days after Spotify Rap dropped? Because for some reason, we're talking about Drake, by the way. Drake versus the world. Public Enemy number 2, probably, because I believe Public Enemy number 1 is Donald Trump. But, you know, Public Enemy number 2, for some people, number 1. For some people, you know, they don't even care. Anyways, though. Oh, I can't show it on here. All right, dang. Because for some reason, Spotify, I don't even want to talk about Spotify right now, but they didn't give us our top artists this year at all. Besides the top 5, they didn't show the rest of it. So you have to go to the artist page, click the 3 dots, click share, and then you can see what artist number they are. You have to kind of guess. Excuse me. For a lot of people, even like, especially haters, and that's the thing that's funny to me. A lot of people were hating on Drake all year, and he showed up in their top 3. Huh? I don't know. Kind of weird. Some people top 5, which is like understandable. There's a lot of Drake songs that, you know, most people can't deny, and they're just good. But some people were like listening to Drake. He was my number 6 personally. I kind of expected him to be top 5, but he wasn't, which is weird. I think this is the first year in a couple years where he wasn't top 5 for me. Now that I think about it, that's weird. And I've been listening to Drake. It's not like I haven't been listening to Drake. I've been listening to Drake, but you know, not as much as some Drake haters, I guess. I don't know. It's weird, but anyway, I guess we got to talk about the rest of the hate and the lawsuit, which I don't know why he did that, bro. I don't know why he did that. Granted, Kendrick Lamar did do it first. A lot of people were like, suing is, you know, it's crazy and all that. They quoted the lyric or whatever. It was like he did it, but it's like Kendrick did do it first, though. Allegedly. I don't know. Either way,
in 2021,
let's see what we're talking
Drake
about, man.
represented 0.8% of every music stream in America. 1 in 121 plays were his music. To put that in perspective, every song released before 1980 represented only 0.6%. That's one person outstreaming a significant part of the entire history of music. He's a giant, and he's only gotten bigger since then. At that time, he had just passed 50 billion total streams, but in the 3 years since then, he's added another 50, becoming in 2024 the first artist to ever pass 100 billion streams on Spotify.
Look, man, feel however you want about Drake, feel however you want about Drake's music. This is impressive. This is impressive from like a musical standpoint. Just the fact that this many, you know what I mean, streams have been generated by one artist. Come on, bro. This is cool. This is cool.
No one else comes close to representing that type of value. So it makes sense that Drake's...
Isn't like Eminem number 2, though? It's like Drake, Eminem, I think Travis Scott, and then like Jay-Z.
Deals would also be huge.
And then Wayne?
He signed a $400 million
pretty sure that's top 5.
UMG in 2022, by far the biggest in music history. In fact, that was about twice as high as the previous biggest record deal of all time. But in a seemingly unrelated twist of fate, 2024 was a rough year for Drake. He's always been a controversial figure, with lots of people feeling that he doesn't represent hip-hop well, or he lacks the character and depth to be a real music legend. But at the same time, he's only kept growing and growing without any sign of losing the #1 spot of biggest rapper alive. That is until Kendrick Lamar, who literally has his picture in the dictionary for authentic rapper, spent a month calling him a pedophile, deadbeat dad, loser, and colonizer on 8 different genres of diss.
What else did he call him? You know, he called him some funny stuff. I feel like the pedophile thing was just the loudest thing, which is, you know, unfortunate, I guess. It was not, I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? But I think that was the loudest thing. But he said some really funny stuff, bro. Like, genuinely. I'm surprised he didn't call him a polar bear. Hey, and this is why I'm not a rapper, but I would have called him a polar bear. At that point, I would have just called him a polar bear too, bro. I would have. And he literally beat up an owl pinata, man.
Track. While Drake's career obviously wasn't over, at this point he's definitely too big to fail. A lot of the enthusiasm around his music went down. True or not, the rumors stuck.
And something I've noticed, especially again with the Spotify rap thing, is people just started listening to Drake quietly and listening to Kendrick publicly, but the amount of listening was flipped. They weren't listening to Kendrick that much. It's just every time that they were talking about it, but they were secretly listening to Drake all the time. Apparently, I don't know.
One of them being that Drake was a sore loser with a sour personality. Maybe
A lot of people saying that.
Or a human trafficker, but if people felt he was petty, immature, and creepy, that might as well be just as bad for his optics.
Or he's a selfish, lying, manipulative sack of who has made enemies for 15 years, and now we're here at the boiling point.
Because ever since that beef, Drake hasn't been the same. The fun has died down to a degree. He's been fake posting, ranting at shows.
You're gonna come to a point in life where people you thought were friends, they might stab you.
No, he's becoming Kanye. Oh my God, it's over. It's over, bro. And that's why them two have such a shaky relationship, because they see so much of each other in themselves, and they see so much of themselves in each other, and they don't like it. And that's why they aren't friends at the moment. I feel like, though, we're gonna approach another era soon of Ye and Drake actually being cool, and we're actually gonna get music from them. I hope. I still want Abu Dhabi as the new Calabasas, or whatever the album's called. Actually, no. Yeah, I think that was like the tagline. The name of the album was the original Waves, wasn't it? Oh no, Wolves. That was Wolves. Waves was Life Pablo. But I think that was Wolves. And then he just named a track on Waves, Wolves, because that album got scrapped. But either way. I feel like, that's going to happen at some point soon. But just like Ye and Cudi. Ye and Cudi have eras where they're not talking, they're not that cool, and then they resolve it, and they're cool again, bro, because brothers fight. You know what I mean? It happens like that. But at the end of the day, they gon' rekindle, I hope. I just want new Drake and Kanye, bro. They're great artists together.
A lot of things to you. Sometimes it's you and you alone by yourself.
The ranting is kind of X-Men.
Who have nothing to do with him. Overall, just not taking it that great.
Guy's like a fragile op, but
I feel like people, out of all of this, I was watching the stream. Out of all of the sneak disses he said, the fact that this is the one that got the most people's attention was hilarious. It was genuinely so funny. When he said it in real time, I cackled because I'm like, bro, Steve Lacy, bro. I get it. He was at the pop out, but he's from Compton, bro, and he makes good music. But like, everyone only talked about that. He sneaked this like The Weeknd. He sneaked this Kendrick. He sneaked this a lot of people. But like, this was the one that stood out.
Nowhere,
it was just funny.
Filed a bombshell legal petition that makes several very bold claims. So bold that the entire music industry could be thrown into question if even half of what he's saying turns out to be true. But it's a tricky situation. On the one hand, it's not hard to believe that Drake's claims could be entirely true. We know the music industry will do just about anything they can do to exploit or take advantage of their artists. Even the biggest artist on their rosters being immune to bad deals or worse.
Which is crazy to me, bro. It's actually crazy. Which Taylor Swift is another person that ended up on a lot of people's top 5 that openly do not listen to Taylor, but quietly they be streaming all the eras. I don't even know all of them. Hold on. All right, let me try. I'm not gonna do them in order, by the way. I'm not really a fan. I just have all the stuff saved because I want to listen to them, and I listen to Midnights. That's the only Taylor Swift album I listen to all the way through. And not even the deluxe version, because she dropped like 5 of them. And after the second one, I was like, all right, I'm not listening to these. But Fearless, no. Self-titled, Taylor Swift, Fearless, Speak Now, Red, 1989, Folklore dropped at some point. What's the other one? The Pink album. Wait, I'm cheating because I have it right here. Lover. I have a poster of it under my desk. I have a bunch of albums. And then Midnights. I know there's albums I missed. I know there are, but I don't care. But that's the eras, right?
Drake telling this side.
Oh yeah, there's a new one. The Tortured. I haven't listened to the new album because it was like 2 hours. Because she dropped the album and then she dropped Deluxe 2 hours later, and then she dropped like 100 Deluxes since. I'm not listening to all that, bro. It's like a 10-hour album. Who has the time for that?
story
Not me.
makes the whole situation a lot more questionable. His track record with business and public relationships is far from good. And the way that this is being presented seems to only make that worse.
It's a bad look, and it's all smeared on Drake. This is hip hop, man. Somebody comes at you with lyrics, with a song, you're supposed to come right back at them with the song.
So there's a
I feel like that's the argument that a lot of people have been having too. And I feel like it's kind of hypocritical. You know, it's kind of hypocritical because Drake did that. He dropped tailor-made freestyle. Granted, I said it was corny. I said it was weird that he got AI Tupac on a song. You know what I mean? And all that. But he did that. And what did Kendrick do? He sued him and then dropped a song. If Drake drops a song right now, dissing Kendrick again or dissing Steve Lacy or whatever, you know, then what are people going to say? They're probably going to pick it apart and say it's bad. Just like they did with, what's it called? What's the name of that one song he dropped? Push Ups. Push Ups was a good diss track. It was good. I ain't gonna lie. The other one, though, Family Matters, I feel like because he twisted the Mother I Sober, kind of, you know, that was a little weird. But other than that, there were still some good jabs in there. I enjoyed it first listen, not as much afterwards, but, you know, but like even, I don't know, bro. One thing with this beef and why I kind of haven't talked about it in months, and we'll continue not talk about it after this, is, you know, it's kind of one of those things where no matter how unbiased people try to seem or try to be, there kind of will always be that bias against Drake just because of the fact that he, again, for a lot of people, doesn't well represent hip hop culture, doesn't well represent rap music. They don't like his face. Things, y'all, you know what I mean? All those things. So it's like, why have those conversations if they're all leading to the same point anyway? You know, Kendrick better for a lot of people, which I respect and I get it. You know, I've listened to Kendrick just as long as I listen to Drake. Both of them are great artists.
Complicated situation in front of us.
In their own different ways, though. I think a lot of people compare the two, and that's how we got here in the first place. Generally, if no one ever compared Drake, Kendrick, and Cole back in 2012, 2013, we would have never got the Controverse, and we would have never got this beef. Genuinely. But that all started because people had to say Drake's name in the same sentence as Kendrick's name, and Kendrick didn't like that, which is understandable. If I was him, I probably wouldn't like it either. But, you know, hey, man.
It worse.
Drake, he got you. It's okay, bro. You Drake.
Or the label might really be conspiring to take him down to save a couple of bucks.
The label is not supposed to pick side. If these niggas was helping them, that's foul.
Either way, there's a complex web
It's kind of a fair point.
brands, public
It's kind of a fair point.
evidence that needs to be carefully looked at to separate fact from fiction to see who or what is really pulling the strings behind these big cultural moments and why. If you're interested in more of my creations, we just launched a brand new set.
Ooh, I forgot they doing jewelry now, bro.
All of them are made from solid 9.5 sterling silver with hand-painted details, and they all tell a meaningful story. These are necklaces for artists, creators, people on a mission who need a reminder to just keep going until they reach their goals. If you want to support my work and buy a necklace, feel free to pick one up at the link below. That's spiritworld.store.
I haven't watched in too long because I haven't seen like any of these pieces, bro. I saw that was the first one, but anyway.
Drake filed a petition requesting depositions of Universal Music Group and iHeartMedia as part of Texas's Rule 202. It's not a lawsuit in itself, but instead it's a way to gather information and identify weaknesses before he officially goes after a court case. From the website of the local law firm explaining how this works as a special law specifically in Texas, it says this: while most states allow some form of pre-suit discovery, Texas has the broadest provisions for pre-suit depositions in the country. Rule 202 is commonly used to identify potential defendants, collect evidence of non-compete violations or trade secret misappropriation, evaluate a case's potential value, or assess the scope of liability and damages. The filing itself makes some pretty insane claims that are actually ground-shaking if they're true. In just a few pages, it explains how and why UMG would care about what's going on here and how and why.
Honestly, that's the thing too. I personally found it funny that when this news first broke that Drake was suing UMG and all that, people were taking UMG's side. Like, bro, they're my ops too. I was so happy he did that. Bro, you know how much beef I have with UMG, bro? Like, bro. And everyone's just like, yeah, sure, even if they did it, they should have. Huh?
they would get it.
What are we talking about, bro?
It says UMG is one of the
sucks,
handful of companies that dominate the multi-billion-dollar music industry. When it comes to the release of new music by its most prominent artists, UMG is meticulous in its planning and execution of the music it releases.
A lot of people don't know about the big three, and they act like they do, but they really don't. And it's like, bro, Universal, Sony, Warner, like, dog. Ops, bro.
Backs with its considerable financial resources. That is true not just because of the amount of money on the line for UMG and its shareholders, but also because UMG's executives are eligible to receive incentive bonuses based on the revenue generated by their respective divisions. Then it gets back to where it all started. Drake's lawyers wrote this. Earlier this year, one of the artists that UMG has under contract presented UMG with a new song called Not Like Us. Before it approved the release of the song, UMG knew that the song itself, as well as its accompanying album art and music video, attacked the character of another one of UMG's most prominent artists, Drake, by falsely accusing him of being a sex offender, engaging in pedophilic acts, harboring sex offenders, and committing other criminal sexual acts. Specifically, the song calls Drake a certified pedophile, a predator, and someone whose name should be registered and placed on Neighborhood Watch. That's the heart of the issue here, because Kendrick and Drake are both technically signed to the same company, but are managed on a day-to-day basis.
They're co-workers.
By separate labels. UMG gets
That's what a lot of like casual people. Hi, paused on 616. It's so funny. I've caught 616 so many times. Which, bro, we found some thug back in 2016 on 616 said that they wanted to see Kendrick versus Drake just to watch the world burn. And I think that could have been why Kendrick called it 616 and then did the, but anyway.
Out of and controls both of their output at a high level. It certainly seems like it could be a conflict of interest to allow one of their artists to do something to the other that could harm the business overall. That doesn't sound like something that would be good for their relationship with Drake at all. And sure, that's
at all.
But
if it was any artist, if you look at it from a pop standpoint, that's like if, okay, here's a great example. Olivia Rodrigo made a song that she wrote and all that, had produced with Dan Negro, all that. And apparently, for some reason, it sounded to certain people like it was interpolating a certain Taylor Swift song. And so Taylor Swift now owns pretty much that entire song. If O-Rod came out and was like, yo, Taylor, you suck, and you touch little boys or something, I don't know what they wanted to say, like, in the scenario, but let's say she said that, right? Do you think UMG would allow that to happen? The biggest artist, I think she signed to Sony. Maybe, but anyway, let's just say for the sake of, she signed to UMG, right? Do you think they would let that happen, bro? A massive artist calling out another massive artist. Now, there is kind of a discrepancy there because Kendrick and Drake are like really big. Taylor, really big. O-Rod, she's big. She's getting there, but she's not quite at that level yet. Maybe next album, she'll be at that level. So that's kind of a, but even still, right? Let's just say it was a little some kind of pop beef going on. Like, would they really just, I don't know, bro. I feel like that's weird.
It says UMG designed, financed, and then executed a plan to turn Not Like Us into a viral mega hit, with the intent of using the spectacle of harm to Drake and his businesses to drive consumer hysteria, and of course, massive revenues. And that plan succeeded, likely beyond UMG's wildest expectations. Essentially, what Drake is saying is that not only did his label do him dirty, but UMG also used illegal, corrupt methods to massively boost Not Like Us.
Now, I will say, and Volksgeist is probably going to talk about this, everyone else has been arguing 2018 Drake, especially Spotify. I know they involved Spotify at some point. He was all over Spotify. Even right now, hold on, let me X out of Drake, right? Let me just go home. Where do you see, is it the search? Where do you see playlists? All right, I don't know. I don't think you can. Anyway, if we pull up Spotify, right, New Music Friday, we got Bad Bunny, we got JP, we got Fouché. I don't know who this is. I can't tell. We got a bunch of artists. In 2018, all 4 of these would have been Drake. All 4 of them would have been Drake. Just random playlists, all Drake related. Shout out to Drake related. That's a great fan page. One of the OGs. And Word on Road. That's another good one. But anyway, 2018, Drake was all over the place. literally, especially on Spotify. Like they were, God's Plan came out. It was like the biggest song of the decade or something at that point. Like it blew up so fast. It got so many streams. It got so much attention and all that. One could argue that there may have been some sort of similar corruption going on. Now, we can't confirm or deny at this moment, but I just feel like, I'm a person that truly has been, calling out and praising both sides throughout this entire beef, because that's what's important, bro. Like, I feel like a lot of people have been, again, very biased towards one side or the other. I'm not saying it's all Kendrick fans, because we all know how annoying OVO Nathaniel is and all those bots and all that stuff. Now, do I think Drake did that himself? No, I don't think so. Do I think anyone at the OVO camp did that? No. I think some random Drake fan genuinely just spent way too much money on bots and unleash those bot comments and stuff on a whole bunch of videos and random posts and all that stuff. I don't think it was them, but they've been annoying, and we all know how annoying Drake fans can be in general, right? But still, bro,
money at his expense in the process.
You can't let anything go unmentioned.
Why would they do that to their own client? The how is seemingly simple. The papers say UMG made covert payments to a number of platforms, including radio stations, to play and promote Not Like Us without disclosing those payments to listeners. This practice, known as payola, is prohibited by the Communications Act of 1934 and has been the subject of regulatory scrutiny. Basically, Drake is saying that UMG broke the law to push Not Like Us and make it bigger. And this part is entirely possible to be true. Payola refers to the illegal practice of paying radio stations, DJs, or music influencers to play or react to specific songs without disclosing.
Oh yeah, they was trying to call out reactors too, bro. I reacted to every single song in that beef. If I get summoned to court, bro, it's over for y'all. It's over for y'all, bro. Y'all, hey man, y'all better not strike my video, nothing like that. Kendrick, that was the one thing that Kendrick had over Drake in the beef for me personally as a reactor. None of my Kendrick reactions got blocked. And I could monetize them, bro. Literally, except for Not Like Us. That was the only one that was like, all right, you can't get paid off of this, but we'll let people watch it. And I was like, all right, I guess. But other than that, though, it was solid. And then I tried to check out the video off of GNX the other day, and it got blocked. And I was like, all right, well, there's that. But yeah,
payments as sponsorships. This has been a problem for.
I think the block got lifted though, and I think it's out. But at first it did.
For 100 years.
I was like, man,
gaining significant notoriety in the 1950s and 60s when investigations revealed that record labels were secretly bribing radio personalities to boost their artists' airplay on a massive scale, often at the expense of listeners' preferences or demand. This has long been a problem that undermines fair competition in the music industry, distorting the market by prioritizing financial influence.
Which honestly shouldn't even be competition. That's always been my beef with, especially in rap. Everyone in this entire beef is like, this is hip hop, this is whatever. They were not dissing anybody at the park. 51 years ago when hip hop started, it was about community. It was about fun. It was about celebrating life, good vibes, music. We had actual DJs scratching records. We had MCs on the mics doing their thing, hyping them up. And then they started rapping, doing the thing. You know what I'm saying? But like, that whole argument of like, this is hip hop culture, that didn't start until the gangster rap of the late 80s and 90s. You know what I mean? Which early adopters of hip hop culture and stuff like that, they weren't rocking with that, bro. They were not rocking with that. That was not legit hip hop. It wasn't. It was grimy. It was about murder and drugs and gang violence and stuff like that. That's not hip hop. But, everyone kind of forgets that part and they kind of act like 80s, like that's when hip hop started. So the whole dissing like that's, you know what I mean? But it shouldn't be a competition. I don't care. Everyone's always said rap is a competition. It's a sport. It's whatever. And it can be that. But I feel like there's genuinely enough room for everyone to have their own lane, do their own thing. And they should be able to do that. If Drake wants to be the biggest pop rapper in the world, selling out more records than anyone else, getting play in every major country and a whole bunch of other ones, and you know what I mean, have a really diverse fan base, he should be able to do that. And then Kendrick can still have his lane of being the greatest rapper. and having some of the greatest bodies of work as albums. You know what I mean? He won a Pulitzer Prize, bro. His albums are being taught in colleges. That's his lane. Then you have people like Tyler that has his lane of being a rapper, producer, composer, fashion designer, music video director, actor, all these things. He's been in cheese rooms. I mean, that's his lane. He should be able to do that. But we don't have to have this competition of there isn't room for everybody because there clearly is. There literally is, bro. J. Cole, most humble rapper. That's his lane. No one can take that from him. Nobody. But y'all constantly want to compare people and do these, you know what I mean? And the labels, I feel like they kind of started that. They started that lane of like, yo, let's, you know what I mean? Which is how we got 50 Cent versus Kanye for first week sales. We genuinely didn't care about first week sales before that. We didn't. We didn't, bro. And first week sales used to mean something. If someone sold 100,000, that meant 100,000 people went to the store and bought the record, bro. Literally. If someone sold 20,000, that means 20,000 people went to the store and bought the record, bro. And they sold 1,000. That's still like, you know what I mean? Now it's like the album's a flop if it doesn't sell 300K. You know, like, bro, who genuinely cares about that, bro? Nobody. But the labels started to make that seem like it's important and further push that narrative. So now they can profit off of people. You know what I mean? Like, y'all got to really understand what's going on. And this is kind of the part where I'm like, why I was so, I'm not going to say mad, but like disappointed in people just instantly wanting to side with UMG just because it wasn't Drake. And it's like, bro, y'all understand what's happening here? Like, this is the same capitalism that y'all complain about all the time, as you should, because it sucks. But like, we can't just pick and choose when it's cool and when it's not. Like, bro,
artistic merit,
what are we doing?
Listener interest, and stifling opportunities for emerging artists who lack the resources to compete. And while FCC rules and laws and regulations have tried to curb payola in recent years, modern variations of this practice persist in the form of undisclosed playlist placements and influencer promotions. Basically, the music industry is corrupt. It always has been. It always will be. And it wouldn't be surprising that UMG do this for Not Like Us, because they probably do it for most of their music in general. Drake's filing even showed that UMG had been ordered to pay tens of millions of dollars as recently as 10 years ago for payola offenses. It says that Drake knows of at least one UMG employee paying independent radio promoters who then paid stations and radio employees to play Not Like Us. Even more than that, though, Drake's team is saying that the way
I don't listen to radio. I haven't listened to radio in years. On purpose. I don't like it at all. It's annoying to play the same popular. So, you know, like, I can't imagine being a radio listener when Not Like Us came out, because I would have been even more sick of the song. Genuinely. I streamed Not Like Us personally maybe 8 times max. Maybe 9. You know, we'll throw that out. The one more. You know, why not? I watched the music video twice. So let's call that 11 times overall. 9 out of 11. There we go. Right. A lot of people was their number one, like DJ Academics, which is hilarious. Not Like Us was the number one song. He tried to hide it. He was like scrolling through his top songs. It was like, oh, it showed. But you know, I think that's kind of funny. But either way, dude, the song was everywhere. It was everywhere. It was in every Instagram reel for like 3 months straight. It was in the background of every video that wasn't just like a regular, you know what I mean? I imagine it was playing on every radio station, every hour, all the time, all day, every day, for probably still, even though it's, you know, kind of wintertime now, is we playing Frank Sinatra. But no, they're still playing Not Like Us, I imagine. So, like, I kind of get it, bro. If they paying people off, I wouldn't, because you wouldn't notice. You wouldn't notice. You would just think the song did, what, 70 million views in 2 days? I think it did, like, 50 mil first day. No, probably not 50. I think it did, like, 30. Because when I reacted to it, it was at like 16 mil. And that was like a couple, like hours after it dropped. I didn't watch it initially. So, you know, but, and then the original, when the audio dropped, it got like, I don't even know what, man. I can't remember. It blew up really fast, though. Out of all the diss tracks, that one got the most attention the fastest. So it's like, you would just think that that's natural. So if they did sprinkle a little bit of money into some radio stations, whatever, they would be able to get away with that. And that's exactly why you gotta call him out for it, because it's like, nah, bro.
Streamers and critics
You can't be doing that,
This
bro.
was part of the plan too. It says petitioner has received information that UMG also paid third-party influencers to promote Not Like Us, creating incentives for high visibility influencers to spread Not Like Us in a radical departure from long-standing internal policy by removing copyright restrictions.
I don't think I played any of the diss tracks on stream. Actually, no, I'm lying. Family Matters played once on stream on Shuffle, and then I think Euphoria played like 10 minutes later. It was very funny. So I did play both of those songs on stream. But other than that, I didn't play any of those songs on stream. So
Restrictions so the influencers could make money from their videos. Basically, Drake is saying that UMG, with the help of iHeartMedia, used corrupt, illegal tactics to conspire against him for their own benefit. But that isn't all. Another petition was filed just 24 hours later against UMG and Spotify, again telling a very similar story of corruption and unethical business practices.
Yep.
It says, in 2024, UMG did not rely on chance or even ordinary business practices to break through the noise on Spotify and likely other music platforms as well. It instead launched a campaign to manipulate and saturate streaming services with the song Not Like Us in order to make that song.
And that's something I noticed too. And I've called this out before years ago about other stuff. So don't think I'm hating on Kendrick. But the song did come up in Shuffle a couple times and I skipped it. I didn't want to hear it. I heard it. I was like, if I'm going to hear this song when I open Instagram, I don't want to play it right now because then I'm going to really get sick of it. You know what I mean? Not like the song. You can't front. It's a good song. It's a mustard. It's a great beat. But, you know, I was like, I'm not trying to hear this all the time. So I would skip it sometimes, but it came up in the Shuffle a lot more than you would imagine. And I'd be noticing stuff like that. I've been calling out Spotify on that type of behavior for years. On camera, even longer before I started doing all this. You know what I mean? Like, so that right there definitely is true. They be doing that, bro. When I listen to Midnights, like when it first came out, that month, that like maybe 2-month period after it came out, no matter what you do, if you put one song in a playlist and you shuffle that playlist with 1,000 songs, that one Taylor song is going to come on at least twice. You know what I mean? They be doing that, bro. They literally do
using
that.
bots and pay-to-play agreements. On information and belief, UMG charged Spotify licensing rates 30% lower than its usual licensing rate for Not Like Us in exchange for Spotify affirmatively recommending the song to users who were searching for other unrelated songs and artists. Neither
I
UMG
don't know if that happened. It might have, though. That sounds like I've definitely searched for certain things and other things have come up randomly for no reason. That's happened. I can't recall that happening with Not Like Us personally, but maybe it has. I don't know.
Nor Spotify disclosed that Spotify
Again, I wouldn't doubt
compensation
that.
of any kind in exchange for recommending the song. It also alleges
Y'all
that
know I'm a diehard Spotify user, but at the same time, I have multiple videos where that's all I'm doing, just calling out Spotify. They do a lot of things like that that are kind of, you know, I don't know. Some money might be exchanged through hands under the table. I don't know. But that behavior would not surprise me in the slightest.
revealed that
They be doing
UMG
stuff like that.
$5,000 to put bots on the song to artificially inflate its plays, but Section 18 might
That
be
part I think is a little bit. I think that's kind of a reach. I think people genuinely were listening to that song a lot. Because the annoying part again too is the song is so good that some people, never me, but some people genuinely just play the song on repeat. They would. I get it. You know, it's a good song. I worked out to it. I love it. But to play it on repeat, I could never. But I think a lot of people have been doing that. And so I think the bot streams thing is a little bit of a reach. Me personally, I believe. How many streams is that? Probably like 200 million. Let me see. It is at. There's a clean version too. Does he still call him a pedophile in that one though? Or does it? Okay, I said 200 million. It's almost at 1 billion. It's at 937 million streams. I feel like that's accurate. Because Tay McRae has multiple songs with 1 billion streams, and I feel like Kendrick has more fans than her. So, you know, maybe. I don't know. Not that I'm not trying to throw Tay McRae under the bus. I love her. She's great. But you know what I mean, though. You know what I mean?
most
Like,
revealing parts of this document.
he's a big artist. I feel like that's
It
valid.
says Drake has received information that UMG has been taking steps in an apparent effort to conceal its schemes, including but not limited to terminating employees associated with or perceived as having loyalty to Drake. Indeed, UMG has demonstrated that it has
GGs.
no interest in taking responsibility for its conduct. Over the past several months, Drake has repeatedly sought to engage UMG in discussions to resolve the ongoing harm he has suffered, but UMG has refused to engage, insisting that UMG is not responsible for its own actions. Instead, UMG...
See, that's kind of crazy because, again, as an employee of UMG, because that's technically what this is, I'm trying to break it down into layman's terms so we can all understand what's going on. Because, again, a lot of people aren't very tapped in with how the music industry works. I get it. But basically, as an employee, this is like, hey, my boss let one of the other employees say some crazy stuff about me. It's spreading through the you know what I'm saying, through the office, and they firing people that's trying to stand up for me and be like, nah, that's not true. And then when I try to press them about it, they don't say nothing. They don't do nothing. Like, hold on. I had to take a call real quick. UMG called me and told me to stop calling them out. So I can't say anything else for the rest of the video.
He has pointed the finger at Mr. Duckworth Lamar, insisting that Drake should initiate legal action against Mr. Duckworth himself rather than UMG, and even threatened to bring its own legal claims against Kendrick Lamar if Drake were to pursue claims against UMG. Basically, the petition.
Yeah, I saw that too. So that's the boss blaming it on HR. Huh? Like, bro, you can't do that, bro. Take responsibility.
UMG told Drake they have no interest in
be a man, bro.
And that they would sue Kendrick Lamar if Drake sued them.
I don't know if the heads of UMG are men. I would just assume that because that's how corporate America works 90% of the time, especially with something that's been around as long as the music industry. I mean, I hope that they've, you know, allowed women to like climb the ladder and, you know, make it up there into those boardrooms with the suits and all that, but I doubt it. Because that's just how it be going. You know, it's messed up, man. But either way, let's just, for the sake of the argument, assume that they're men. They should just be men and own up to it, bro.
Both of these petitions are signed directly.
They're trying to throw Kendrick under the bus. He just made the song. Y'all should have told him he couldn't put it out. Like, come on.
Drake wants to sue his own label for conspiring to illegally, unethically push Kendrick's diss track for their own gain at his expense. But why does Drake think they would do that specifically to hurt him? What makes this different than the corruption that almost...
See, that's what I was talking about. Look at this. Literally he didn't even have a dance album out at this point. He does now. Which that's the album I've played, honestly, never mind, at least 30 to 40 times this year. Which is why I was surprised that he wasn't in my top 5. I love that album. But like at this time, he did not have a dance album out. The closest thing he had to that was Passion Fruit on More Life. And it's funny how people love that song, but hated Honestly Nevermind when it first came out. Weird. I don't know.
Every major figure in
weird, man,
takes advantage of whenever they can.
Literally
like,
every
example,
playlist.
Drake coordinated with Spotify to put his face on the cover of every single playlist on the platform when he dropped Scorpion in 2018.
It was every playlist.
A selfish act of greed by the label or a total fabrication by a poor loser? Or is there really something much darker under the surface? Why is Drake trying to sue his own record label? If you let Drake fans tell the story, it's pretty obvious that this situation is a whole lot deeper than it looks on the surface. The theory that's gaining traction on his side is that UMG orchestrated this not just for their own gain, but because they needed him to fail because he had gotten so big they didn't want to pay what they owed him for his next record deal. Like I mentioned earlier, Drake's last record deal was $400 million, and apparently he made it back fast enough that he was in for another even bigger deal as soon as next year. And so now, after this news has come out, Drake fans all over the internet have started connecting dots to say that not only did UMG turn their back on Drake to make a quick payout and Not Like Us, but it was actually a giant plan all along to save money by hurting his career. So they could turn around and say, look, Drake, you lost the beef, your stock is down, no one listens to your music right now, we can't do $500 million anymore. Now, this isn't included in his petition at all, but when you go online, you can see thousands of people trying to connect Drake's lyrics from the past few years to the possibility that he might be dealing with a much bigger battle than Kendrick or Metro Boomin making a few diss songs could even begin to explain.
And that's something that I've noticed. I've gone back and listened to a lot of music from both Kendrick and Drake, and heard stuff. There's a lot of Kendrick bars throughout the years that definitely seem like Drake disses, especially the entire what's that J-Rock song, bro, with Future and Kendrick and oh my god, what's it called? Y'all know I'm terrible with song titles. King's Dead. That entire King's Dead remix, in my opinion, feels like I forgot James Blake is on that song too. That's such a good song. But I feel like that remix is entirely a diss track. And I think Future mistakenly took part in that back when him and Drake were cool, which is then what led Drake to stealing his girl, and then they were beefing, which she had a man, by the way. I don't know. Kind of weird. But and then same thing with Drake. There's a lot of stuff that kind of seems like jabs, not really at Kendrick, but more so like Volksgeist saying like at labels or at, you know what I mean? The powers that be. And he's mentioned, you know, terrible label deals before. We all know every artist has had a terrible label deal. A lot of them are still stuck in their terrible label deals. But I think Drake is one of those artists that, unfortunately, because he signed to a guy that was signed to a guy that wasn't really, he was just in the streets and he had money, so he started a label. I think because he went through that pipeline, he had one of the worst deals ever. And we, you know, we can expect that. But there's definitely been a lot of things that he's kind of hinted at throughout the years, especially recent years.
If that were
being
true,
unhappy at a
the
label.
implications are mind-blowing. And so, according to his hardcore supporters, Drake is about to expose one of the biggest controversies of the modern music industry and shine a spotlight on an insane web of corruption and exploitation. And honestly, these people might have a point. This isn't something that hasn't happened before.
Yep.
Michael Jackson's entire career was marked by a tense relationship with Sony, his record label.
Yep.
And during a particularly difficult moment in their partnership, Sony essentially sabotaged the release of his 2001 album Invincible,
Yep.
a $30 million project that ended up being the most expensive album ever made. In the early 2000s, the relationship between Sony and Michael Jackson completely broke down when he found out that Sony had lied about ownership of his master recordings, having made a plan to keep control of his records 10 years longer than they initially promised. Shortly after that, he also discovered that the lawyer who originally helped him sign his contracts 10 years earlier had secretly been working with Sony the whole time. Internal negotiations over this issue resulted in Sony canceling the album's singles and marketing, which led to Michael Jackson publicly calling Sony's CEO a racist mobster devil on various occasions.
We can't let them get away with what they're trying
And
to
he
do.
wrote Slave. Oh, no, it was him that wrote Slave on his face too, right? It was that. I can't remember. I feel like they both did though, because they both had, you know, understandably, a lot of issues with their labels.
Because
I personally, you know what I mean? I don't know if like we're still wondering, because I know, you know, there's like a lot of 9/11 conspiracies still, but I feel like there aren't enough conspiracies about Michael Jackson's death possibly being maybe orchestrated by some sort of entity in power at a label, maybe. I don't know. I just feel like that's a possibility, bro.
so I'm leaving Sony a free agent, owning half of Sony. They're very angry at me because of it, but I just did good business, you know.
Because wasn't this like, what, 4 years before he died? He died in 09. So like, what was this, like 05?
They get revenge.
Because Invincible came out in 01, right?
Try and destroy my album.
Was it 2000?
Tommy Mottola
Forgot.
is the devil.
Basically, it's nothing new that the music industry will literally do whatever it takes to profit from artists,
Yup.
even if it means sabotaging their star artist to maintain control. If
Yup.
it could happen to Michael Jackson,
It could happen to
really
anybody.
happen to anybody.
Yup.
And rumors around Drake being in a bad deal with Universal have been going around for a while,
Yup.
with lots of people saying that Drake might be in a slave deal and might have been told to fuck off
Probably.
after trying to negotiate with people in charge at UMG when he realized he was worth way more than the huge deal already paid. And so now Drake is in a pretty insane predicament. A
Yes.
much riskier, much
Very
more
insane.
difficult to prove situation. Given the history and the evidence, it's totally possible that his label might want to bring him down in some
Bro,
way.
I'm not gonna lie. I was so mad when these sold out. Because, like, as a kid, again, I've been a fan of Drake since I was 5, bro. 2009, when Michael Jackson died. So, like, you know what I'm saying? By, like, 2013, bro, with some of my first Instagram acts, like, I was almost a Drake fan page. In, like, 2015. I was almost a Drake fan page, but I gave that up pretty quick. I shouldn't have though. I probably could have had some clout, but whatever. But by like 2013, bro, I was obsessed with these hoodies. The OVO EXO era. That's kind of when that's when I got put onto The Weeknd and all that, you know? Like, That was crazy. I thought these were the hardest hoodies ever. So when they came back, I was like, bro, I need to get one. By the time I looked, they were sold out. The plain ones. They still had other ones, but I didn't want those, bro. I wanted the OG, man.
Any relationship with $500 million on the line is going to be complicated, and there are countless examples of labels doing people dirty for their own self-interest. It literally happened to Michael Jackson. But if it turns out there isn't really a case here and that the conspiracies are just conspiracies, Drake won't ever be seen the same way again.
He won't be seen the same way again, period. It was over. Honestly, when Meet the Grams came out, a lot of people think it was Not Like Us, but it was over long before that. When Meet the Grams dropped, matter of fact, it might even be 616 in LA. 616 in LA might have been like the close. Okay, here's what happened, right? What's the name of it? Like That was digging the grave, right? And Drake helped. He helped too. He was digging his own grave a little bit. When Push Ups first came out, that at first he was kind of digging, but then it seemed like no, he's actually throwing some of the soil back in the hole too. And then Euphoria was the construction of the coffin. 616 in LA was Drake going in the coffin. Meet the Grams was the closing of the coffin, and Not Like Us was the last nail. That was it, literally. And it all in one motion. He was thrown in there. GNX was kind of like watering the soil, months later, hoping some grass comes through. But yeah, that's kind of the whole breakdown. But yeah, Drake won't be looked at the same by the mainstream, by the main public scene the same ever again. And for a lot of people, he wasn't already. A lot of people haven't been looking at Drake the same since 2017 when he dropped KMT and everybody was like, hey, this is Look at Me by X. And then he was murdered the next year, which I don't think Drake had anything to do with that. A lot of people back then to this day all think that Drake put a hit out on him. I don't think Drake from Toronto had that much pull in South Florida to just randomly get some guys to, you know what I mean? I doubt it. I feel like that was its own thing. That's how Miami is. It's very unfortunate. Rest in peace to X. I don't think that Drake had anything to do with that though. But, you never know. Either way, people, they're never gonna look at him the same. And I feel like that's fine.
Phenomenon called the Streisand effect.
People don't look. Oh, yep. Yikes. I've been learning a lot about this recently. Because a lot of people have been trying to,
intended consequences of an attempt to hide or remove information, where instead of the attempt working, the attempt itself ends up creating
it just amplifies
awareness of what they were trying to hide in the first place. It's named after the time that Barbra Streisand tried to stop the publication of a photo showing her giant mansion in California, and instead just ended up making the photo hugely famous by accident. Before her lawsuit against the photographer, the picture only had 5 views online. After, it was over 450,000. And that's exactly the problem that's sitting in front of Drake.
Thundercat! I forgot he was going to pop out too, man.
Against Kendrick, with Not Like Us having almost 1 billion Spotify streams and staying on the charts for 30 weeks, not only is Kendrick's victory lap going on for longer than anyone thought was possible, getting a genuine hit around shitting on Drake, but as a result, Drake has spiraled a little bit beyond what someone in his position can afford to do. And what he's doing now could genuinely be the nail in the coffin. It was already
I think
the most anticipated.
I think it's long,
but
long
if you
gone.
have to add, and then he tried and failed to sue the guy who won at the end. That's even worse. But at the same time, it's not a
because that's how people are looking at it. Really, he's suing the label that put the song out, that the guy who won. You know what I mean? But then the label turned around and was like, "It wasn't us, it was him." So it seems like he, which is tough. And then again, the bias it's just gonna, they're gonna rewrite history, which is fine, but
surprised he's got
it'd be like that, bro.
Watching Drake try to move on from this beef has been pretty bad, but the situation
back when War dropped, bro, I was so hyped for Drill Drake. I really was. I was so hyped for it. We got a couple of good songs though. We do. I feel like Only You freestyle is very hard. That's probably the best song with Drake on a drill beat. Demons is okay. I kind of wish, we got it earlier with Pop Smoke, but it's fine. It's still a good song. On the Radar freestyle is okay. I feel like there's another drill song that he has. It's something off the last album, Fat D.
Started quite a
I don't
while.
know.
The world didn't.
And not the
last
sexy
long
drill
with
song. I'm talking about
Oxford
something like
came out
actual
in
drill.
2023, with a lot of people calling it unfocused and repetitive. It was pretty clear that a new phase might be coming for Drake's career, with him tending more towards one-dimensional toxic masculinity in his music and declining quality in his albums over the last few projects. It almost felt like he was only still the biggest rapper in the game because there was no one else out to challenge him, not because anyone truly loved what he was putting out. With
Yeah, I personally, over the last 5-6 years, have been always saying that a lot of Drake albums don't hit like that. There's good songs here and there. There's high, pretty high highs, pretty low lows. Some of them have sounded better over time. Like me personally, I reacted to CLB that night live on stream. I was so bored. Bro. Genuinely, I did not enjoy that album. After the long wait plus the 9-month extension wait, I was not feeling that at all. But over time, that album's grown on me. It's gotten pretty good. Not really the same for most, though. Honestly, Nevermind was the only modern Drake album that I liked first listen, and it's then from there only gotten better. But other than that, most of them not that great. And I've always said it's at a point now where Drake really has nothing more to prove as an artist. He's kind of just still doing music because he makes music and he loves doing it, I guess. So, that's kind of why. But that's how I felt. The last few Drake albums, not that great. Dark Lane was all right. Again, that's a mixtape. Literally, it's a mixtape. It's just whatever. So I guess that one gets a pass. But Scorpion, a lot of filler, don't love it. Couple songs on there I enjoy, but overall as an album, not that great. CLB, same thing. A lot of filler. It's gotten better over the years, but I don't love it that much. It's not in my top 5 Drake albums at all. What was next? I think honestly Nevermind was next, because it was a surprise drop. It was cool. It was all right. But then you get Her Loss, which I think has aged the worst out of recent Drake albums. It's good still, but it's not that great. A lot of it sounds kind of, I don't know. And then you get Fat D, which has only been out for, over a year now. It's cool. There's songs on it that I really enjoy. Been playing it a lot, but as an album, it's not that great compared to, bro, you got to think about it. We have Take Care. We have If You're Reading This Is Too Late. We have What a Time to Be Alive, since we need a collab album. We have So Far Gone, if we need a mixtape. Amazing projects. So when you have that comparison, it's like, bro, a lot of these albums are trash compared to those, but they're still not that bad, which is why, they still do pretty well. But we haven't had a great Drake album since. I mean, honestly, if we're being honest, Nothing Was the Same, because What a Time to Be Alive is a collab album. If You're Reading This Is Too Late is a mixtape. More Life is a playlist. Technically, it literally says it on the cover. And then Scorpion was the next album. So we haven't had a great Drake album in 11 years. Besides, honestly, Nevermind. But I feel like even that, that was a genre switch, bro. He did a dance album, which is incredible. But
some people calling it Drake fatigue. It seems
albums that have not been hidden, bro. And I'm saying that as a fan. Again, this is the first year in 8 years that he wasn't on my top 5.
Getting a bit tired of his antics.
It's crazy.
Over the last few kind of repetitive albums he had released. A lot of people didn't love the way he was dissing Megan Thee Stallion, beefing with Rihanna for seemingly no good reason, approaching his late 30s with seemingly backwards growth in his songwriting. When Kendrick showed up at Drake's door as the hip-hop boogeyman coming to take his name, he didn't even have to have an ace up his sleeve. This wasn't Pusha T revealing that Drake was hiding a kid from the world back in 2018.
Because Kendrick tried that. He did. Don't forget, Kendrick tried that. But he fed him the information for weeks and whatever. That was so funny, bro. I ain't gonna lie. That was very funny. That was very funny. He really thought, Drake really thought he had he one-upped him there. He did. Which I guess in the moment he did, but not really. Not really. It was funny though. And he did take the bait. Kendrick did take the bait, which is the funny part. He did take the bait. But
Average, what a lot of people already felt was true, talking about Drake being into young women, making fun of his racial identity, calling him a colonizer. These are conversations that had already been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
Kendrick was just presenting it in a fun, catchy way for the rest of the world to sing along to, because Drake had become
and a lot of that stuff too was things that, you know, it was a very small group of people that I feel like, in comparison, very small group of people that were talking about any of those things, really. But then Kendrick said it. And, you know, when you're Kendrick Lamar, one of the biggest artists to ever live, with, again, some of the greatest bodies of work ever, and he says that, it's like, oh, well, you know, and a lot of people took that as, well, if Kendrick said it, it must be true. You know, that's how a lot of people saw that about everything. There's probably still some people that believe Drake has a daughter. That just, you know, and I guess, bro.
Bigger than ever in the last couple of years. But that also meant his flaws were more on display as well. Of course, Drake's side of the beef wasn't half bad either.
It wasn't, bro. A lot of people were not giving Drake his credit. He was holding his own, bro. I think because he never clapped back at Pusha T after Story of Adidon, a lot of people thought that he couldn't diss, but they forgot. Back-to-back freestyle was crazy. Back with the Meek beef, it literally made them make up because Meek was like, you know, what can I do? And if Meek Mill gonna do that, someone who's been having crazy freestyles since he was 15 is like, yeah, Drake got me as a rapper. Like, he got me, you know? And let's dap it up. Let's make a song that's gonna play in every gym and whatever. And they cool now. Duppy freestyle again. Great diss track. A lot of people were rocking with it at that time, but it kind of, you know, Infrared came out. So there's that. So I think because he never clapped back at Pusha T after that, people started doubting Drake's ability to, you know, really rap and really write as a rapper, especially in, you know, kind of a sparring diss situation. And so they kind of went into a lot of his songs with that bias. And I think they downplayed a lot of those tracks, but they really are solid diss tracks, though. Especially Push-Ups, bro.
Matters were good tracks. And
it's a great track.
Full of shit that was.
Family Matters a little bit shaky, but still pretty good track. Again, first listen, I was just happy that he was fighting back. I was very happy that he was fighting back because it seemed like he was getting jumped.
Just made up, but so were Kendrick's songs. Ultimately, though, it didn't matter. When Kendrick dropped the grams just a few minutes after Family Matters, overshadowing a pretty good diss track with an insane dissection of Drake's existence, and putting out Not Like Us the next morning as a knockout punch, it was over. Ultimately,
that entire sequence of, like, honestly, that's the only thing that I really miss about that time this year, of being like, Kendrick diss Drake on Like That, and then dropped another song or whatever, and Drake didn't say anything. And then Drake came back with a diss track and was like, yo, he ain't gonna say I got him quiet. Ooh, I got him quiet. And then Kendrick came back, and then Drake came back, and then Kendrick came back right after, and then spun the block. Bro, that was a crazy moment just as a fan, bro. As a fan, that was a crazy moment, bro. We got so much good music out of two of the greatest artists to emerge in the last 20 years. In like a month, bro. Because Drake was supposed to be on vacation, bro. He dropped Fat D. He turned around, dropped Scary Hours 3, added it as a deluxe onto Fat D, which I'm still mad about, but whatever. You know, and it was like, he gonna go on vacation, probably come back with like I don't even know what. And then, you know, Kendrick, he dropped 2022. He dropped the Hillbillies last year, did Can't Flog Nah. So it was like, I don't know. I never thought Kendrick was going to drop songs, let alone an album later in the year before Baby Keem. Baby Keem dropped the album, bro. He posted a snippet in the studio like a year ago, bro. Come on. What we doing? But whatever. It's like, as a fan of both of them in that moment, it was crazy. But then it stopped being fun very quickly. It stopped being fun, bro.
His songs were sharper, his bars were angrier, and like I said, the world was ready to see Drake lose.
They were.
Drake was funny. A lot of Drake's
honestly, anybody could have dissed Drake, and they would have said he lost. Like, anybody. I think the fact that it was Kendrick made it easier to understand because he actually did lose, because Kendrick ate him up. He eviscerated him in front of the world and then danced on his grave on Amazon, on Twitch. literally, I didn't watch the whole pop out. I saw a couple of clips of Tyler and, you know, some of the clips of Kendrick and stuff like that, but I didn't watch it. It was my birthday and I don't like hater energy. So I didn't entertain that on my birthday. But, you know, we can't deny that that was an insane moment for the culture, and not even just hip hop culture, for like humanity. Like that was a crazy moment to witness. I can't even imagine what it was like actually there in real time and SZA was in the crowd. I honestly would have just freaked out about that. I'd be like, forget who's on the stage, bro. SZA is right here. Like that's crazy. But yeah, man.
Friends were seen bumping Not Like.
I feel like Justin Bieber could have did it, and it would have been not the same, but a little bit similar. A little bit, not very, but a little bit though.
It was being played on TV and at sports games. Kendrick was even announced to headline Super Bowl 59 in the wake of the song's success. The entire world united to laugh.
Which, me personally, I'm still, you know, I feel like I understand why people are like Wayne didn't, you know, deserve it or whatever. His performances lately have been kind of questionable. But like Kendrick, bro, what a lot of people aren't realizing is like let Kendrick have his moment. Did y'all not watch the Super Bowl a couple years ago, bro? It was Dre, it was Snoop, it was Eminem, it was Kendrick Lamar. I feel like it was somebody else too. Who was it? It was MJB on the stage, bro. And 50 Cent was hanging upside down under them, just chilling. Like, did y'all not see that? They had an amazing moment in LA. It was in LA. He had his moment. And if anything, he could do it again in LA. But we in New Orleans, bro, they could have got Young Boy. They could have got Lil Wayne. They could have got Young Boy. They could have got Juvenile, bro. They could have got Juvenile, bro. But you know what I mean? So me personally, I feel like that's kind of weird. But I don't care about the Super Bowl anyways. So regardless of who was going to perform, I wasn't going to watch. But like, you know, still.
Drake, and in
kind of crazy.
He hasn't been able to do much more than pop out at a few shows, drop some throwaways, and keep his head down, while Kendrick does a victory lap all over the media. A big part of that is the fact.
And now Drake's going to Australia. A lot of people are like, he's fleeing the country for the Super Bowl, and it's like, bro, like this. Can people not tour? Can people not just be like, you know what? I want to go to somewhere I haven't been for 7 years because they show love out there, and y'all aren't doing it. So like, why not? Let me, you know what I'm saying? Let me pull up over there, see what the vibe is. Like,
the fact that no one
it's just
sees
weird.
Drake as someone to root for. His
At all.
success got boring. And now the problem for Drake is that he didn't take it super well. He's going on XQC's stream saying he's fully intact and that they need facts to take him out and fairy tales won't do it. But literally, he is taken out right now.
Me, I do music, in case you didn't know. I'm here, as you can see, fully intact. Mind, body, and soul, in case you were wondering.
Again, I was watching this in real time.
Mind, body, and soul.
And as you, I don't even want to violate. I don't even want to violate, bro. But I peeped it. Bro. We all did, bro. We all did. That man stressed, bro. He cut the braids off. Now I think personally, it might have been the braids. What is the braids? That's my favorite line out of this whole beef. What is it? The braids? I genuinely say that all the time. But I think it was the braids. I don't think it was stress. I don't think it was insomnia. I don't think it was any of those things. I think because he's only half black and he was rocking them tight braids for like 2 years. He got to take a trip to Turkey. Hopefully when he goes to Australia, he makes a stop on the way back in Turkey, pull up Air Drake, and then, you know what I mean, come back to Texas because he lives in Texas now. I don't know. But you know, yeah, I was watching this in real time and I was like, I'm hearing what you're saying, but it looks a little different. I don't know.
Fairy tales won't do it.
I don't know. I just think it was funny though. You know, I thought it was funny. Genuinely, I did. All the taunting, all the sneak disses, and then the Steve Lacy one was the only one people paid attention to. But you know,
music, new videos, big shows, big hits, and Drake isn't. Instead, he's having Lil Yachty go on podcasts and put out propaganda calling him unfazed and unbothered.
Propaganda.
Really?
No, he was genuinely unfazed. I respected it a lot, and I talked to him. That shit didn't bother him, you know. And then to a point where I just stopped talking to him about it because I felt like I was the one bringing him the negativity. Like I was bringing the cloud when I would be like, "Oh man, man, I hate that this person said this. I was showing him shit he hadn't seen.
He's sitting around putting out petty little Instagram stories, dissing people on kick streams, and pretending to be unbothered, while the entire time he's actually been fighting his label tooth and nail to apologize or pay him back for letting his career get damaged by the beef with Kendrick. The narrative.
Which at the same time, bro, I feel like we can't blame him for it, bro. We can't. A lot of people, again, all the Pusha T beef, they like to act like he was a deadbeat dad, as if we haven't literally seen him with Adonis as a baby, infant baby, and constantly, pretty much since Pusha T made it public. But okay, like he does have a child to feed. Now, granted, he has more than enough money to take care of Adonis and his child forever, even if he never puts out another song right now and stops making music off of all the songs that he has put out. He probably would be fine. But, like, come on. Let the man get a bag, bro.
This beef has been entirely about him not taking the loss in a normal way. And so it all comes back to the Streisand effect. If Drake said nothing after this beef, eventually everyone would move on. He would release.
I disagree, though. I disagree. And you know why? It's that same bias that I was talking about. Now, granted, Future and Metro dropped Not Like Us, or not like that. I always get those two confused because anyway, they dropped Like That or whatever. People was talking about it. And then Kendrick dropped Euphoria and it was like a whole thing. Drake didn't say anything for weeks. He didn't say anything for like 3 weeks. He was silent. He didn't say anything the whole time. People were like, when's Drake gonna say something? When's Drake gonna address it? When? You know what I mean? Then Drake comes back, says something, tries to play it off as if Kendrick's not gonna say anything. Oh, I got him quiet. And then everyone's like, bro, he literally dissed you 3 weeks ago and you just now responded. And you know what I mean? Again, that bias has been there. It's been there, bro. So, you know what I mean? Not Like Us dropped. Drake didn't drop another diss track. It's like, oh, I got him quiet. You know what I mean? We won. The same thing like Pusha T. He probably made a song, thought it was too crazy, and didn't put it out. You know what I mean? That's how that bias was going to go anyways. He literally didn't address it at all. He dropped a parody meme song, Wagwan Delilah, and everyone was just talking about, like, this is the first song he did after the beef. He's so washed. He's so, you know what I mean? Like, he could have said something. He could have not said something. He could have sneaked this someone else, whatever. No matter what he did, it was already too late. And that's why I said it's already been done. His public image is over with for most people in public. But again, behind closed doors, a lot of shit got worse. I ain't gonna lie. He said it. He said it, bro. Not me. He said it. Those are his words.
Too much to worry about. But if he files this lawsuit, it comes right back into the spotlight, and Drake gets proven to be a petty, whiny, annoying loser again. Suddenly, the story of his beef with Kendrick would be twice as long, stretching out over an entire year, only for it to be 2 massive L's instead of just one. Unless, of course, the theory that UMG was trying to sabotage Drake to get out of paying him more is true, in which case, it's one of the craziest conspiracies in modern music history.
Honestly, at this point, I hope it's true, just so I can see people, see how they try to then twist that and be like, "Well, this is still, you know what I mean? He deserved it, or whatever." I don't know, bro.
In real time, it's a giant gamble.
I'm tired of Drake hate. I'm tired of Kendrick hate. I'm tired of the hate in general, bro. Like, why can't we all be cool? And that's why I love artists like Cash Cobain, who just rap about sex and mind their business. He just minds his business, bro. Pierre Bourne. He was gonna, you know what? This is why Pierre didn't drop. He was gonna drop an album in March. It's December now. The album still isn't out. But you know why? He was like, why would I drop right now when we have all this negativity going on in the air, bro? I can't be associated with that. I don't even want to drop in the same year as these people. Playboi Carti, same thing. I'm coping now. Playboi Carti started his rollout a year ago. And he still hasn't dropped. He's never gonna drop. But either way, you know what I mean? Like, I'm tired of all of it, bro. I just want people to listen to the music that they want to listen to because they like it and know, just let it be, bro. Let music be music, literally.
Where Drake either makes himself
let music be music, bro. If you want to listen to a bunch of bland pop rap, go listen to Scorpion. Do it. If you want to listen to, you know what I mean, some amazing storytelling, production, social commentary, go listen to Pimp a Butterfly. If you just want to have a good time, listen to Play Cash Cobain. You know what I mean? But like, can we all just not, you know what I mean? Like, can we all just be happy and like not further do like I think a lot of people they have that mindset, and I've said this before, of like hating is free and it takes nothing from you to be negative and all that because the world is negative anyways. So why not just add to it? I can't stand people that fight fire with fire. I genuinely can't, bro. Me personally, I don't like it. I don't, bro. Like, it's annoying. It's weird. And I feel like we don't actually get anything done while we're doing that. Because the whole time, like he said, if this is, you know what I mean? The only real winners of this beef is UMG. Because how much money have they made off of sales, and then, you know what I mean, revenue streams from people going back to old stuff? And then Kendrick just dropped a brand new album that sold like 400,000 first week. I don't know. GNX is doing great. They got the tour coming up with SZA, who's teasing a deluxe, and possibly Lana dropping at some point soon. Then the Super Bowl. Like, do you not see what's happening here? Capitalism winning again and again and again. And you know what I mean? You got to have your little rebellious moment hating on, you know, Public Enemy #1 or #2. Well, yeah, I think he was #1 because people hated Drake before this anyway. You know, like, how is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't understand, bro.
Victimized
I don't
by
get
a
it.
label, or
I don't
like
get
a
it.
giant idiot. But public perception about
doesn't
Drake
handle it
right
great,
now
but
is
even
bad
still.
enough that even if he is right and is the victim of a plot against him, a lot of people just don't really care to hear that out. Instead,
Exactly.
a lot of people are actually siding with the label. Which
Exactly,
isn't something I
bro.
thought I'd ever say in the year 2024. Everybody
It
knows
makes
record
zero
labels.
sense to me. Like, I genuinely, that was the one thing for me that was like, all right, nah, y'all are weird. Like, why would we ever say, like, side with the known enemy? And then these same people gonna turn around and be like, Michael Rubin's having all these white parties, what he got going on. You know what I mean? They be, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, we're sleeping with the enemy now? Like, I just don't get it. I personally don't get it.
Bad, abusive,
get it.
exploitative companies.
It's weird to me.
Right now, no one seems to care. UMG's first
all.
statement in response to Drake's filing was short and simple. They said, the suggestion that UMG would do anything to undermine any of its artists is offensive and untrue. We employ the highest ethical practices in our marketing and promotions, and no amount of contrived and absurd legal arguments in this submission can mask the fact that fans choose the music they want to hear.
Even that in itself is very passive aggressive and feels like, yeah, we did it and you're not going to do anything about it because we own you and your friends and your family and your fans and your haters and their families. And, you know, to me, that's kind of what it sounds like.
Essentially, this is the
Me
corporate
personally,
speak version of
that's
what
how I'd
literally
take it.
everyone else said the second they saw Drake's filing. Who cares, dude? Not Like Us was a hit. You lost.
It was.
Move on. And so at the end of the day, even if Drake has a point.
And then again, even if he did move on, let's say, okay, we all know what Drake's doing next. He has the collab album with Party Next Door, right? Even if Drake never addressed anything after Not Like Us, never put out Wagwan Delilah, never won an XQC stream, none of that, never did any type of, you know what I'm saying, and just dropped the album, they would have said Kendrick bullied him out of rap, and now he's doing R&B albums with Party, who's playing with his nose now. You know what I'm like? That's all they would have said. Like, there's no win, which is why I feel like, why not file a lawsuit at that point? Like, why not? You might as well, bro, because if not, you're going to spend that money on steak, gamble it away, and lose a parlay because someone didn't get 14 points in the game. I don't know. I don't gamble, but like,
The way that he's gone
why not
about
pay
this
legal
entire
fees?
situation leading up to now makes him seem so petty and immature that that's all anyone can see. Even if there is corruption or something unfair going on, he's sitting so much in the shadow of his own bullshit that no one cares.
Yep.
I mean, if even DJ Academics starts recognizing that Drake is probably doing more harm than good right now,
Yep.
with projections for the first week sales on Kendrick's new album going up after this news came out,
Yo, I'm gonna have to holler at my nigga Drake, man. This shit's getting out of fucking hand, bruh. I told y'all that fucking lawsuit was just fucking worst timing. Fuck nigga Kendrick now expected to sell 325. Bruh.
Like, it couldn't have been
It
worse.
becomes obvious that even Drake's petition is kind of petty and strange, and it seems almost ill-advised in a lot of
I
ways.
think if anything, he should have started with the defamation suit and then did that. it would have come off a little bit different. But to a lot of people, it seemed, and people even said this when it happened that day. They were like, a man calls you a pedophile in a song, and then you sue the label for putting the song out when you could have just sued for defamation. And then the next day you sue for defamation, and it's like, oh, that's not hip hop. Huh? You know, but that's how they feel. That's just
looking at the actual details of these papers, the theories and ideas around why Drake is really doing this start to fall apart, and it makes Drake look pretty bad.
Yeah.
One of the weirdest things in it is how they named multiple content creators and outright accused them of taking payments from record labels
NFR, bro.
for reacting Not Like Us. They literally name NFR. It says petitioner understands that UMG paid the popular NFR podcast, which has 300,000 subscribers on YouTube and 330,000.
They literally have Take Care. Wait, is that
on X to promote? Not
is that
Like
Good Kid,
Us
Mad City right there? Oh, GG's. GG's. That's hilarious. And then J. Cole. Oh my God.
Disclosing the payment as part of its deal with UMG, the NFR podcast.
Which, For Your Eyes Only, low key, best J. Cole album. It's between this and 2014 for me, but it's like right there. Like, those albums are so good, man. I can't wait for the fall off, but I'm also terrified because, like, that means no more J. Cole albums after. I don't think J. Cole's gonna entirely just retire from music and never put anything else out. But I think the fall off is gonna be his last project. Like, he might only do like a couple singles, features, and stuff like that from here on out once the fall off drops. And that's the part that I don't like. But I still I hope it comes out next year, bro. I just don't want to wait anymore. It's been so long. We've known about it happening for like 6 years. Like, let's just put an end to it, man. Put us out of our misery.
Episodes, tweets, and other content about the song. But that just doesn't make a lot of sense. The NFR guys
I've been yapping for an hour and 15 minutes. GG's.
Who covers music news and new music. They're going to cover the most popular songs at the moment.
Bandana,
that's their
great
business.
album.
And of course, that makes it more popular in turn. But that's the nature of what they do. They would do that even if they weren't supposedly getting paid by the label. And I think this section of Drake's petition gets to the bottom of what he's really getting at. Section 17 and 18 say this. UMG's schemes to artificially inflate the popularity of Not Like Us were motivated, at least partially, by the desire of executives at Interscope to maximize their own profits. UMG executives have an annual incentive program pursuant to which they are rewarded for meeting and surpassing sales and profits projections, among other metrics. The incentives are largely based on the specific UMG division rather than the performance of UMG generally. Thus, on information and belief, Mr. Janik and other executives at Interscope have been incentivized to maximize the financial success of Not Like Us and its revitalizing impact on Kendrick's prior recording catalog, including his first 5 studio albums, which are owned by Interscope. Streaming and licensing is a zero-sum game. Every time a song breaks through, it means another artist does not. UMG's choice to saturate the music market with Not Like Us comes at the expense of its other artists, like Drake. Petitioner suffered economic harm as a result of UMG's scheme. Drake is essentially saying that UMG shouldn't have let Kendrick Lamar publish his song because it hurt Drake's income by making him less popular, and that his label shouldn't be allowed to do that. Like it says, petitioner suffered economic harm.
Which again, I feel like that's a fair point
this
to make.
particular part puts a lot of
me personally, I think that's fair to say.
Talking about corrupt pay-to-play practices being
is it true? I don't know, but
saying the label is defending him by allowing Kendrick to call him a pedophile. It starts to look a lot more like he's just mad about Not Like Us being successful than actually having a solid case against his label.
Yeah.
Because it's
definitely what it looks like.
Didn't actually do anything against him. They just let another client do something he wanted to do already and didn't stop him. Because why would UMG not let Kendrick do what he wants?
Exactly.
He's a client of theirs as well. Why would Drake get special treatment and have UMG stop a song from coming out that hurts him?
Exactly. Because I feel like if it was the other way around, it still would have happened. It still would have happened, bro. Like, literally, they let Drake put out a song where he called Kendrick a woman beater, which I feel like is just as insane. You know, like, again, if it's not true, if it is true, then yikes. And, you know, they should definitely call that out. Just like if the stuff about Drake is true, you know, but like, as of right now, we have no confirmation on any of those things being true about either of those guys. So, like, you know,
Lamar, if I get it. That's the heart of the issue here. And I think it is a fair complaint. If my agent went out for someone else that resulted in me losing money, I'd be mad. But the thing is, Kendrick and Drake are both in business with UMG, making them tied to each other in a way that could easily result in this sort of issue. A bunch of legal experts have already weighed in on the case. One lawyer said, "I don't really understand how that would create leverage to cancel a recording contract. When faced with popular sentiment that Drake may be set to argue that Universal breached his contract by artificially promoting Not Like Us, the lawyer noted that would essentially be saying that Universal is obligated not to market Kendrick's music because Drake finds it undermining. I don't think Drake would stand for that either." Basically, yes, UMG might have indirectly hurt Drake, but it's also their job to help Kendrick just as much as it is to help Drake.
It is.
And they can't be held accountable for Kendrick winning the beef, just like it wouldn't be their job to stop Drake from beating Kendrick if it were the opposite.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to say just now.
Summed it up perfectly. He said, "No amount of money in the world is worth the reputational harm that Drake is causing to himself by filing these suits. If Drake had learned Kendrick was about to release a record making these claims and he filed a suit to block the song's release, that would make sense. But the song is out and it's been out. The whole world has heard it. Filing these suits serves as a reminder to the world." And then in the end, the lawyer said this: "The streaming bots and the pay-to-play thing, assuming he feels strongly that there's some documentation and could prove it, ultimately it still doesn't change anything about this battle. The average consumer isn't going to say, oh, Kendrick paid for bots and therefore Drake actually won." Basically, Drake put himself in
a lot of people do feel like Drake won, which is, weird. I think, again, the tracks were good and all that, but like, I think the way Kendrick went about it more so than the tracks. I think in some of the diss tracks, Drake had better bars, better, you know what I mean? But like, again, the fact that Kendrick dropped like 10 minutes after, bro, you can't beat that, bro. You just can't. Even if there was false information in that song, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Like, you can't do anything about that, bro. That's what people like. They like negativity. They thrive off of being a hater. They love that. There's nothing Drake or anybody could do, especially if H to the Izzo is pulling strings. Now, I don't know. I'm not the one putting that out there. I'm not. But this is a point that's been made several times, and we all know that. Even the guy that I mentioned earlier that made the 616 tweet, he even said Jay-Z, you know what I'm saying, Mr. Carter gonna have something to do about that. He even said that back in 2016. Like, so I don't know, but we all know you can't beat The Rock. You just can't. You can't, bro. You can't. The man lost 93 bricks, and he's still walking around allegedly. It's a powerful guy. It's a powerful guy, bro. I love Jay-Z. But yeah, you just can't, you can't fight that. I'm trying to think of how you can translate this in a way that's a little bit easier to understand. That's like Omni-Man and Invincible trying to fight Spider-Man. Like, that's only going to go one way. Spider-Man, I don't care if you say that they're cheating, if they're, you know what I mean, whatever it is, you're going to lose regardless, bro. It's two Viltrumites. Like, you're cooked. You're cooked.
After the beef, people...
Even if web slinging is cooler, even if, you know what I mean, whatever it is, you're cooked.
World now see him as a petty, kind of weak character who lost a big battle and couldn't handle it. Now he's making some very shaky claims about whether or not it was...
Which happened before anyways. That's another thing. A lot of people didn't see Drake the same after the Pusha T beef. Which is funny, man. It's funny.
Fair fight. But unless he had some insane slam dunk reveal, all this is going to do is make him look even more like the thing he doesn't want to be seen.
Which, oh my God. That was a link that I didn't put together because technically this entire thing started because Birdman didn't pay the Neptunes back in 2002. That's really how this whole situation started. But that's a whole different, you know what I mean? We don't need to go back that far. We could just start with the Control verse. Because a lot of people think the beef started with like that. It didn't. It started with the Control verse. Y'all just weren't, you know what I'm saying? Y'all weren't there, which is fine. I get it. Y'all are young. But hey, man. The story of Adidon was on a Jay-Z beat. It was. I just want to make that, I just want to, you know, kind of point that out. It was on a Jay-Z beat. It was.
As. Of course,
Shout out to
that's
Hov,
not
though.
even to mention the fact that Drake himself has been
Yo, Dad, I got you.
from the type of practices he's now complaining about for years. I mean, even Kanye said it. Lucian Grange, the CEO of UMG, is Drake's rich baby daddy.
They say rich baby daddy. It's like Drake has a rich baby daddy named Lucian, and Universal. He's like, like, man, my daddy got it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, my daddy controlled the spins. My daddy got the DSPs. My daddy, Drake has a rich baby daddy.
We know how successful Drake is.
And then his daddy turned on him. Imagine how that feels. Like, nah, that's actually kind of crazy, bro. When you put it that way. It's just like, oh man,
how massive his record deals are.
He disowned him.
You know that the record label has prioritized him for over 10 years.
He disowned him, bro.
13 #1 albums, but now it's not allowed because they let someone else win for once. Now the game is rigged because it's no longer rigged just in his favor. At the end of the day, Not Like Us.
Let's look kind of crazy.
You couldn't go anywhere for months without hearing this beat blasting out of someone's car window. Kendrick's
I don't know. I don't think that applies to everywhere. I personally have never heard Not Like Us out in the wild. I haven't. And before all of you argue that I'm a streamer and I never leave my house, I do. I was bumping Two Hollis out of my car yesterday. Literally, exactly, not 24 hours ago. Maybe like 26 hours ago. I was just at a light bumping Two Hollis way too loud. Because, that's how I move. But I've never heard Not Like Us out in the wild. I don't know. But it has been playing a lot, though. Every club, again, every sporting event. That was annoying, too, watching the WNBA games. Because especially the Atlanta DJ, like every time they scored, he would play Not Like Us. And it's just like, all right, bro, there's other songs. Like, I get it. It's cool. You're celebrating the team's a great moment. But like, there's other songs you can play. I don't know, man.
Dark and entertaining and fun and danceable. Like I said, there were a million reasons why people just came together to make fun of Drake. It's not that people really thought he was a pedophile, or at least most people didn't. But people were tired enough of Drake being so dominant in the industry that it didn't matter. Kendrick came at the right time to harness people's energy and make a hit. Whether or not Drake is out of his mind and destroying his own legacy because he's salty about losing or not.
I don't think he could ever destroy his legacy because, if anything, he destroyed it back when Scorpion dropped. But again, public image, cooked. He's cooked.
It seems like that.
And that's fine, bro. There's plenty of people that are cooked. Look at Kanye. He was the creative director of Polygon Plan. Look at Kanye, though. He's putting AI verses on Vultures, and guess what? He still made Graduation, bro. He still made 808s and Heartbreak. He still made College Dropout. He produced the Blueprint. Half of it, but still. Just Blaze? Shout out Just Blaze. But, look at Kanye, bro. He said he loved Hitler, which is insane. And we all still listen to Yeezus. Yes, I know you do. Don't lie about it. You listen to Drake too. I know you listen to Yeezus. If you listen to Drake, you definitely listen to Yeezus, bro. Come on now. It's a great album. Honestly, my personal favorite Kanye. I don't think it's his best, but it's my personal favorite Kanye album. I love that album. Anyway.
Kendrick and Drake's beef got ugly enough to the point where both of them will now have a very difficult time escaping it, win or lose. A central part of Kendrick's beef with Drake was the colonizer angle, calling Drake out for being inauthentic and not really part of the culture. And then he has a bunch of white and Mexican rappers on his new album, one of which is Peso, this Mexican rapper who's on the title track from GNX, and he literally rips the N-word in every song he makes. But Drake can't say it. Kendrick called out Drake for being misogynistic, and then he has
that's one thing that I love too. When Drake clapped back after Kendrick was like, don't say it no more on Euphoria, and he just started the song off with it. Like, I feel like, me personally, that's where the pettiness should have peaked. We shouldn't have tried to sue him after that. He should have just did that. And, I was going to try and think of something he could have done after Not Like Us, but low-key, here's what I would have done if I was Drake, right, in that situation. Call me a colonizer, all that. On Thanksgiving, I'm dressing up as a pilgrim. Me personally, I'm that kind of petty. We're like, if you're gonna go there, we can go there. We can go there if we're gonna go there. If that's what we're gonna do, let's do it. You know what I mean? Let's dance. I would have dressed up as a pilgrim, and I would have made that my entire personality for next year. I would have done that. I would have dressed up as Christopher Columbus. I would have dressed up as what's some of the conquistadors. Because they was colonizing too. It wasn't just the regular whites. It was the spicy whites too. They was doing it. I would have dressed up as one of them monarchs from England, because who knows colonization better than the UK? They colonized pretty much everywhere, right? I would have done all that. I would have, you know what I mean? I would have moved to the UK, started doing more drill songs. I would have done all of that if I was Drake. I feel like that level of petty should have been where he remained, because he was on that level for a minute. But then He started doing too much, bro.
Black, a convicted rapist,
Started doing too much, bro.
Mr. Morale. He brings out Dr. Dre, a guy with a decades-long history of violence against women, on stage at his victory lap show. You can't go into a battle where you try to reveal every mistake someone else has ever made, point out every flaw in their being, and not have that light turned back on you. Even now,
And again, that's another thing too that I've been saying with the bias. A lot of people are acting like Kendrick is their savior. He told you himself he's not your savior. He told you that. Y'all didn't listen though. He told you that though. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people have kind of just been acting like he is anyways, not really realizing that he's just a guy that, you know, happened to have some disdain for another guy, but it wasn't really that deep. I feel like Kendrick tried to move on after Not Like Us, maybe, which is why he made GNX and why there isn't really much, you know, dissing towards Drake on there. There is the untitled track, or not title track, on track 1, there is kind of a jab at Lil Wayne, but more so Lil Wayne fans that were saying that he didn't deserve Super Bowl in New Orleans. Me, but he dissed me. You know what I mean, and all that. And you know, but I feel like he tried to give it up and move on. But then Drake, you know, he sued him. So now he's gonna play Not Like Us 10 times at the Super Bowl, the biggest stage in the world, not the world, but the US at least, which then translates to some of the world. While Drake is going to be probably drunk, ranting, and performing one of his songs in Sydney. Is the first show Sydney? I don't know. It's in Australia, probably Sydney. I don't think he's going to start with the Opera House, but he might. I don't know. I didn't look at the tour. I can't go. So there's that. But
Drake's new album,
I could go. I don't want to.
Scrutiny than ever before.
I mean, I kind of want to, but I can't afford it. That's the main thing.
Drake will actually hold.
I got that passport.
Even though Kendrick hates Drake and Drake hates Kendrick, what they've done is make sure that now they can't ever be separated. No one will ever listen to anything Kendrick makes.
Just like Pusha T and Drake. A lot of people were not really Pusha T fans before 2018. I know that. I was there. A lot of people were not really listening to Pusha T like that. A lot of people didn't know who Clips were. A lot of people didn't know any of those things. They were not Pusha T fans, but because they hated Drake, they just hopped on that Pusha T wave. And now, again, Pusha T put out not too great, no, because Daytona came out right around that time. So he put out a great album since then. Not as many people were talking about it. I personally love that album. I haven't streamed it in a while, but it's a good album. And, you know, I feel like that's one of those things where, like, he didn't diss Drake at all. So people were like, whatever. You know, because they kind of have that tie to him now. And I feel like that's not fair, bro. And if y'all do that with Kendrick and act like the greatest thing he's ever done in his career is diss Drake, I'm going to slap you. I'm going to. Like, come on. Kendrick, I felt like, was at that same place after Mr. Morale dropped of having nothing more to prove as a rapper. I was saying since 2022, I didn't want to hear another rap album from him. I wanted experimentation. I wanted something different. GNX is cool. I'm vibing with it. I personally like some of the slower tracks on there more than the rap songs. That's just me. But, you know, I feel like he's at that level where he's done everything you possibly can do. And now kind of added to that by dissing the biggest artists in real time. You know, there's nothing else he can do in rap now. He's done it all at the highest level you possibly can. Higher than anyone would have ever expected. You know what I mean? Listen to any of his albums. Untitled Unmastered is an album full of songs that didn't make the cut for other albums. And it's still better than your favorite rapper's best album, except for maybe Kanye. It's not better than any Kanye album except for Vultures 1 and Vultures 2. Arguably Donda, but Donda does have what's it called? What's that really long song with Jay Electronica and a bunch of other people? In the long outro, Jesus Lord Part 2. Even the original one, Jesus Lord, like. So we kind of got, why on earth does Donald J. Trump come up when you search up you know what? And that's the thing too. Another big issue that I've had with a lot of these haters. And I'm not even gonna say Kendrick fans, because a lot of Kendrick fans are very level-headed and very smart and have been, you know, kind enough to kind of understand both sides. But a lot of Drake haters who happen to be Kendrick fans, they should have put that same amount of energy into going to the polls, bro. Y'all got so consumed by a beef about a Canadian, by the way, that you fumbled the actual bag, bro. You fumbled the bag. And if any of y'all try to flee to Canada now, I hope they do dirty in the 6. I hope they do. I hope they do, bro. I hope they steal your car. I do. I'm saying that right now. If you want to hate, again, if you want to take it there, I'm going to take it there. If you want to flee to Canada now, because you hate Donald Trump and all that, bro, come on now. After you know what I'm saying? You could have put that same energy into hating a true villain that actually has power. Drake can't do anything but put out music that you might hear at the mall, right? You can leave. But like, bro, they shooting healthcare CEOs in broad daylight now, in the morning. And I feel like that's just the start, bro. Like, y'all, come on, man. Y'all should have put that hate and energy into something actually beneficial, bro, instead of lining UMG's pockets more than they would have been already. Like, bro, y'all need to use your brains, bro. Y'all really do, bro. I'm actually getting mad now.
If it's as good as what Drake
I'm actually getting mad now, bro.
Goes for Drake. He'll never be able to speak in public again without people hanging on to his every word to see if he's dropping a salty sneak diss about Kendrick. His next album, the one after that, they're all going to be seen in the light of his beef. And so while they might hate each other with
which is his thing, granted, I feel like he did that to himself. Again, I went back to some older stuff. He's dissing Future all over Her Loss. All over Her Loss, he's dissing Future. And just, you know, that's his thing. He's been the sneak dissing king for years. That's kind of been his one thing that he's really been known for, aside from just being a big artist. Like, he's not only gonna diss you loudly, he's gonna diss you and you won't even notice it. You're gonna dance to it, you know?
Their beings.
He kind of mastered the hey effect of making a song about a certain thing, addressing that thing, and people still don't notice it. You know,
the way they've both cursed themselves to never escape each other's shadows, not being able to do anything without it being brought back to their beef and compared to each other for the rest of their careers. But at least Kendrick has the sense to keep it pushing and focus on his own shit instead of filing petitions that essentially do nothing but remind the world that he lost for a second time, making him look like more of a petty, sore loser than ever before. And don't forget, my
it's crazy, bro. Yo, cop the drip, man.
Is now available at spiritworld.store with free shipping in the US. And since you watched this far in the video, I'll let you guys know we're currently doing a buy one, get one half off deal only till the end of the month. So hop on that now before it goes away forever. That's Spirit World.
Okay, December. Okay, so cool.
The highest quality solid silver hand-painted pendants you can find anywhere.
All right, bro. Well, that's a great video, man. Like I said, I haven't talked about any of this stuff in months. I'm not going to afterwards. I feel like I've said everything that I wanted to say, everything that I need to say in this video, and I'm leaving it there. But like I said, man, like he said, this kind of started because Kendrick, at least how I took the Control verse and how I understood all of that to be, is Kendrick didn't like that his name was uttered under the same breath as Drake's, in the sense that he is a better artist, more authentic, and things of that nature. And so he made the Control verse and dissed everybody. He didn't just diss Drake. A lot of people forget that. He dissed Tyler. He dissed Mac Miller. He dissed Big Sean, whose song it was, a bunch of other people. He didn't diss Kanye though, or Cole. I don't think he mentioned Cole or Kanye, so they're safe. But it is pretty much everyone else, and that's something he then did again on Let the Party Die, where he dissed everybody. And I think that was the real move on of like, I'm not just here to diss Drake. I'm here to diss anyone who thinks that they're on my level. Because he's a mastermind when it comes to making music. He's a genius. He's truly talented, you know? But one of the mistakes that he made, and again, he's human, it makes sense. That's why he's not your savior. He tied himself to Drake forever. Forever. It's just, that's what it is now. If you search up Kendrick Lamar right now, it happened just now when I looked for that other song. No, not even Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick. Look at this. Kendrick Lamar, Kendrick Scott, Drake, SZA, and then a bunch of other people. Because I just said Kendrick. I didn't even say Kendrick Lamar. I said Kendrick. He's tied. That's how it's going to be forever. Just like how it was with Drake and Kanye. Search up Kanye, Drake gonna come up. Search up Drake, Kanye gonna come up. Because they've had their, you know what I mean? And they're kind of also, in some ways, not as much, not as tight. The knot isn't as tight as it is with Kendrick and Drake now. But they've kind of been tied together in that way too. And, you know, it's tough, man, but you live and you learn. I just, another thing too, I'm kind of mad this took away from other beefs this year. Like the Quavo and Chris Brown beef died so quickly because nobody cared. Like genuinely, I reacted to both diss tracks. I thought it was about to go somewhere too, and it didn't because Kendrick and Drake were just like, again, crowding the space. I feel like Kendrick Lamar lived long enough to see himself become the villain. He has, but a lot of people are just going to celebrate that because, he's Kendrick Lamar and he makes really good music. And, he comes up as more authentic to people. So they're not going to be as mad about it. But, it'd be like that, I guess. It'd be like that, man. But like I said, I think that's it. I made every point I wanted to make. I talked about everything I wanted to talk about. The big takeaway from this is, you know what I mean? Just be kind, bro. Just kind of be in your own lane. There's room for everybody. Everybody can eat. Everybody can win. Not all of it is in the competition because at the end of the day, we all gonna die anyway. We're all gonna die anyways. Everybody's gonna die. Everybody. Everybody you know, everybody you don't know, everybody that you have come into contact with, everybody that, you know what I mean? We're all gonna die. Doesn't really matter, bro. Doesn't. So just be kind, man. And if you want to take that same advice and be like, you know what? Nah, I can be a hater. Do that. Do it. Go for it, man. I can't stop you. You might as well.